Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today, we're going to go overseas a little bit. And let me tell you why. Imagine, if you will, having an opportunity to start your career here on U.S. soil. And then, in the blink of an eye, all that changes. Your life, your career path, everything. And not only that, you're young, you're ambitious, you're a beast. And now your mindset has to shift to what's next. Today on the show, I'm trying to think how to introduce this young man. When I use the word beast and I label somebody that, I see a little bit of me in there. I see the resilience. I see that never quit force. I see that empowerment to take what I learned and play it forward. Today on the show, we have a young man that's done that and a hell of a lot more. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Kamron Pugh to the show. What's up, big guy?
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me, Mr. Andre. It's a blessing to be on your platform today.
Thank you. Hey, I like the beard.
Oh, man, I like you too. I think that's why you said I remind you of yourself because of the beard, for sure.
Definitely like that beard. Before we get started, tell the viewers a little bit about you first before we get into your beautiful journey.
Okay, man. First, like Mr. Andre said, my name is Kamron Pugh. I was born in a small town outside of Mobile, Alabama. I'm from Toddtown, Alabama. It's a small place outside a smaller town. I'm from a place where everybody know everybody and everybody your cousin. So, I'm a country boy, and I grew up around a whole bunch of stuff, small town, but athletics have definitely played a big part in my life. I was raised by a great family, a great single mom, a great church going family. I do believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I do believe He is the head of my life. And without Him, I am nothing. So, with that being said, I had a very simple beginning. Kind of similar to mostly like everybody. I grew up single mom and stuff, but athletics is something that's always been an outlet for me, and it's something that has led me to have the journey that I've had, such as the thing we call life, and it's been a good one.
You said a single mom. So
Uh-huh.
I take it in your town, everybody knew everybody. Everybody was either related or, we call everybody because you're so close knit, your
Uh-huh.
family. So you guys you grew up with a village.
Yeah.
Did you know your father, Cam?
Yes, sir. I knew him. My dad probably stayed maybe 10 or 15 minutes from me. He ain't come and see me much. It was a crazy situation. My mom had me when she was 16, 17. So, my dad was that young too. They were two young kids in a smaller place where, people don't talk about mental health and stuff. So I know there's a lot on their mental health to try to take care of a child when they are children, and then you have to deal with the obscurity and insecurity of having a child out of wedlock, and not only that, but your children. So it was a big situation for them, and regardless of what happened and how things happened, I was able to prevail. But my mom, Geraldine Pugh, she's been a great a great person in my life. We're blessed to have the family that we have. Because without my grandparents, I grew up with a whole bunch of women. It was just me and my granddad.
Really?
So yeah. My granddad, he had four daughters, and then he got a wife. So I've been me and him just get used to getting told what to do, and then shutting up after.
Look,
So
that sounds like me, Cam. I grew up with with sisters and one brother, man, and pretty much the whole household seemed to be, females. But
Uh-huh.
my question to you is, did you always have that mindset, even though your father and mom were young when they had you? You still had a relationship with your father. I mean, but did you always have that mindset, like this is the cards I've been dealt? How do I keep moving forward?
No, sir. I never really thought like this. I really didn't start thinking like this till like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I had to do some. As a when you growing as a man, you have to find out what are your flaws first before you can talk about what are the things that make you a high value in life. So I feel like this was one of my biggest insecurities, and I had to come to peace with that so I could continue to grow. Uh, Coming up, that was probably one of my biggest securities because, like I said, it's a small town. So all my friends' dad coming to the baseball game, all my friends' dad picking them up at the football practice and stuff, stuff like that. I always just had my mom. I had a lot of great father figures though, which was like it was hard for me to feel the pressure of not having a father. You understand? But it's like I never had the absence of not having anyone you
Mm,
know. So I feel like that's why I felt like I was so blessed and so special um to be even where I am today because man, like I said, that was one of my biggest insecurity. I used to feel like, man, why my dad don't want me? I'm just so close away. But man, as I'm growing older, I understand life more, man. Every situation is not for everybody, even if it's theirs.
mhm.
Everybody can't be able to handle certain situations and it was just a point in his life he probably just could not handle that. Even to this day, he maybe still cannot handle the situation. It may just be too much for him for us to have a really good relationship. But man, like I said, the way things are now, it was a reason for that, for me to be the type of person I am, for me to be on this platform and even speak to you about this. So it's things like I said, they worked out the way they needed to be.
That's really ironic that you shared this, because even though we're ages apart, I went through kind of the same thing you did, being a top athlete, and remember, wanting my father to come and be a part of, like you said, the activities that you do. You see other kids, fathers come. I grew up with, like I said, my siblings were always there, even during National Signing Day, which is huge now. Our National Signing Day was a couple of newspapers, and that was it.
Mhm.
But it was important for that time to me to have
Mhm.
that father figure. But you came in at 26 years old. You're 26 years old, and it was just 4 years ago that you became enlightened to not just see from your mother's and father's viewpoint, but from yourself. And the same thing happened to me. I remember uh, sitting down with my father when I started bodybuilding, and I really sat down with him man to man about the same age you did, and had a heart to heart talk. Have you ever had that heart to heart talk with your dad now about your feelings and the fact that you've taken it upon yourself to put yourself in his shoes and say, look, I understand what happened?
Man, it's so crazy that you even brung up that because I actually reached out to him yesterday. I didn't get an
What?
answer, but I actually reached out to him. That's so crazy. It's so crazy, man. God is powerful. Man, it's so crazy. I actually reached out to him yesterday. I didn't get a response, but I think I'll get a response soon because I ended up talking to one of my family members for him to get in touch with me and stuff. So, but I actually do want to have that conversation with him because man, for me to grow as a person, for you to grow, you gotta let go of what's holding you down in the ground.
Right,
As a flower grows, it sheds the shell of a seed and it ends up growing roots and stuff in the ground to go upward. You
right.
understand? So, man, for me, I have to clear my conscience of that situation. I have to talk to him as a man, as I've done with so many other things in my life of handling business. I just have to treat it as that same type of how you say venue or whatever the case may be. I have to talk to him and tell him, man, this how I feel, but this how I felt, but this how I feel, and this how I wanna. continue to feel from here on out about this relationship, and it will happen. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So whenever the time may come for us to have that conversation and us to sit down like men, it'll be a good day. It'll be a good day. I think God will be very happy with my progress in that situation because He know how much of a bearing that situation has always been on my heart for sure.
Now, we're gonna go back to that in a minute, and my hats off to you for doing that. And I'm pretty sure I know 100% it's gonna turn out great on for both of you guys.
So,
You was a top athlete in your school. What was some of the sports you played, and how did you get your scholarship?
so I played all three. I played baseball, basketball, and football. So I grew up in a community that's kind of split in half, 50 white, 50 black. I grew up around white people. White people grew up around me. We were separated in other aspects of life, but I grew up around. So I grew up to I went to one of the top high schools in Alabama, Jackson High School in Jackson, Alabama. And, football is something I've been playing since I was 4, so it's always been a sport that I had a deep connection with. I feel like it's one of those sports that gave me my identity, as a person to help me understand things a lot easier. It was my speed and every aspect of it, from the learning of the game to the speed of the game to the physicality, just the terminology, the way you have to communicate. This is something I fell in love with. And my first real scholarship I got coming out of high school was Troy, and then I ended up getting Memphis. I had Tulane, so I had a lot of good schools. But the ACT was a big thing back then, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So I ended up getting a 17 on the ACT like 3 times in a row. I needed an 18 to get in, so I couldn't get in. So I ended up going to prep school, and then that's when pretty much my college journey started after that, and I was able to just grace on and go on to other institutions after that. And like I said, I ended up going to St. Augustine University and play my last year there, and it was a good experience.
It's funny you said Troy. I had a
Yeah,
scholarship. I had a scholarship offer to Troy, and was this
man.
close to going. And the reason I didn't go at the time, they had a track and field, and they had baseball, but they really didn't have a. If I remember, they didn't have a football team at the time.
Hmm.
This was in the '80s, and
Hmm.
I just like the name Troy. I was like, wow. But when I
Hmm.
looked at them, they didn't really have a strong sports program. Academically, they had a great structure, but they didn't have a strong sports complex. When you went out, you mentioned you was it was your calling.
Hmm.
How did you manage to navigate staying strong with that, knowing that the one person, your father, you want him to be a part of that? Because I'm putting myself in your shoes, because I'm
Hmm.
going back in my viewpoint. When you get the athlete of the year, and that one person ain't there when you doing all these different events and catching passes and tackling and stuff, and you're looking up at the stands, almost like that movie. You seen the program?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
where your boy looked up in the stand, and
Uh-huh.
the boy said, "Hey, man, you might as well
He
go on
ain't
with your
coming.
life." Yeah, he ain't
He
coming.
ain't coming. He ain't coming.
Yeah, what was that like
Uh,
for you though?
man. Well, I can't really give it no details because it was always like that. So after a while, you just stop looking. And, when I started getting a little clouder in high school, my name started getting in the newspaper a little bit more. My name started coming up in the barbershop conversations a little bit more.
Oh, that's
You know,
scary when he goes to the barbershop.
yeah, yeah. So it's it's one of those things where sometimes people will run from you, and God will put them in a situation where they can't run from your name.
Yeah,
And God will do you like that for with him with himself, with you. But anyway, it's like, it was a couple situations where he would pop up, when I was sitting high, So it was something I had to understand early that, man, everybody not gonna be in here for every aspect of your life. and you need to understand who on your team for self gain and who on your team to see you gain.
Hmm.
And it was, I don't know, man. I always felt a type of way about it, but man, football was such an outlet for me. Working hard was such an outlet for me. I always felt like I always took pride in being one of the hardest working guys on every team I've been a part of.
Hmm.
So I feel like people who have played with me, they probably can vouch for that and attest to that. That I'm one of the hardest working guys that they played with. So, but that just came from an insecurity of not wanting to be a bad player in a small community, so people don't laugh at me. Talk about me, talk about my mama. They understand. Oh, number 5 can't catch, and that's her boy. She talking about. So it's a,
Yeah.
so that was one of those things. But man, that was I think when I was involved with football, man, it allowed me to separate myself so much from that.
Yeah.
You
I
know
I
that
feel you.
that's
Yeah.
that's not something that really came across my mind. Like, oh man, my dad didn't come to the game last night. Like, man, I don't care. I had 3 touchdowns today. So it's but you know,
Sometimes you just begin to you just sometimes like I did, you just become numb to it, and then you look at what's next. Like, how do I
hmm
move? How do I move to the next
hmm
part? So what
hmm
led you had a unforsaken accident that happened and you
uh-huh.
when you went to North Carolina. How in the heck did you get to North Carolina?
So, man, I ended up going to a prep school. Man. I ended up getting a scholarship to go to a small school in Virginia. Man, I was out there for like a month. Ended up getting into a fight. They dismissed me for the semester. That's like you can come back for the next semester. So I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to go back because I didn't know. I felt like the situation didn't get handled the right way, you know. But anyways, my auntie tell me she working for the University of Alabama. She tell me to come to her house and she say, man, Cam, just sleep, just stay over here. I'm gonna pay for you to train, with this ex strength and conditioning coach that was working for the University of Alabama at the time. So I ended up working out with him and stuff, and he ended up giving me a position to walk on at the University of Alabama. Now I'm working out with the team. I'm working out. I'm coming in here. I mean, this is my favorite team. I mean, Saban. I mean, Coach Cocker. I mean, a lot of future NFL guys. I'm befriending these guys, and man, so I'm feeling myself a little bit. I'm posting pictures a little bit. This coach named Coach DeViles from Central Phoenix City. He texted me on Twitter. And he said to me, he said, he's the defensive coach at St. Augustine University, where I went to school in Raleigh, North Carolina. And he said to me, man, you can pay 36,000 a semester there. You can come play for free here. I never forget this. I was at my grandma's house because man, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I done got kicked out of college. Now all of a sudden I'm with the University of Alabama. So my pride real high right now. I'm sitting on a high pedestal right now because it feel like I done, avenged myself and avenged my wrongs, and I end up, you know, working out with this team, my family looking at me in a different light. So I feel like I'm doing my thing. And then for me to be able to say, dang, I ain't got to take out no loans and stuff, put my family in a financial burden, I go to school for free at a HBCU at that.
Yeah.
So, man, that was a great experience. So I ended up going there. I ended up going through the year there. Our head coach ends up getting fired. So he ends up getting fired. And, the season continues to go on. We get a new coach. I come back early because I end up getting a job just to make some little money for the beginning of the semester and stuff. I go to a little party after I get off of work and stuff, and the party gets shot up. So I end up getting shot twice in the back. I got shot in the middle of my back and in the lower part of my back. And it was crazy. And it's so crazy because man, I get shot like on January 3rd, and I gotta have a meeting with this new head coach on January the 6th. So I
Wow.
gotta meet him for the first time. This is the very first time I meet him. So when I'm going in there, I'm walking in there, and I just got shot, so I'm sore. I can't talk. I can talk. I can't really walk and sit down. And now I have to explain to him this, and he ended up letting me go from the team, in which I understand because man, as a when you're a black man in this society, right, and
Yeah.
you're put in a position of authority, you have to set some type of standard for what you want to be. And I'm not saying, okay, a kid go through something, you just cut them loose. But man, we as a university were already in a bad state,
Hmm.
and he's coming through as like kind of the cleanup crew guy, right? So now you have this kid who has this situation like this, and he don't know me from a can of paint. It's best that I just dismiss myself from this kid, or he dismisses himself from us. So it is better for not only me and this university, but for my family. This
Right.
guy got to feed his family. He don't know if I was a good guy or a bad guy. So I mean, it is what it is. And I end up going my own way and stuff like that. End up going to junior college, graduating. End
Mm.
up going to eventually another 4 year college, and I end up coming back there my last year. I end up playing my last year eligibility at the school. He ended up getting fired, and then the new coach came in, and he said he had heard a lot about me. It's like, man, I just wanted to talk to you. He called me because I was going to school at NAI in Kentucky
Hmm.
after
Oh,
I
it's around the
graduated.
right around the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to University of Cumberland, right there in Williamsburg. It's really almost on the state line of Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's near Knoxville.
Let me ask you a question real quick, before, and
Yes,
I'll let
sir.
you continue the story.
Yes, sir.
When you got, it's a two-part question. So you
Uh-huh.
get shot, you at a party, you don't know who's shooting. It's a drive-by, shit happens.
Uh-huh.
But you get shot. How close were you from death? You got shot in the back. I mean, you could have been
Man,
paralyzed.
I can't, man, I wish I could show you, but the like this is probably my spine, and then the mark is like right here, like right next to it. It's so close to it. So I mean, I was able to, man, I went home the same night. I ended up going to the hospital and stuff. And then after that, they sent me home with some medication and stuff and this, that, and the third. But man, I think more so than my body, it was my mind that had got shook. My
Yeah.
mind wasn't good after that, man. And I didn't want to talk about it with nobody either.
Did
That
you,
was, that was,
I'm pretty sure you knew you got, when did you realize you got hit? Because of so much
man,
gunfire. When did you realize you got hit? And did you go into shock, or how did you even get to the emergency room?
man. So when I got shot, I I done talked to a lot of people who done got shot before, and everybody experienced different. So some people said when they got shot, it felt like something was on fire, like
Yeah.
like dude get shot in his leg. He thought he feels something. He thought he peed on himself. The blood started running down his leg and stuff. For me, it felt like somebody pushed me. It felt like somebody pushed me, like because I was sitting down.
Hmm.
So it felt like somebody pushed me, and then even like the second time I got shot, I didn't even feel the second time I got shot. I
Wow.
got shot twice, and when I got in the ambulance, that's when they told me like, you lucky you didn't got shot twice, and I'm thinking I only done got shot once because of where I see it like on my shirt, and
Hmm.
so that I didn't go into shock and stuff, and so like I I gave this I threw a football camp in my community like 2 years ago, and I told them this story, and I said, man, the scariest part of me getting shot was not when I got shot; it was when I was laying down because I knew I had got shot in my back, and it was just like I don't know, it was like a subtle 3 seconds, man, where I didn't know if I could move, because I'm like, dang, I didn't got shot, and I got paralyzed, because it's like, boom, and this not happened. Now I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just like a subtle 3 seconds where it's like I didn't move or nothing, and I thought I was paralyzed. And man, that was probably one of the more crazier experiences that I've been through in my life. Uh, it's something that it's something that it's something that I definitely won't forget. Uh,
How long were you in surgery?
man, maybe an hour or so. Maybe an hour or so. It wasn't that long.
And then you come out and you go meet. Did the coach before he fired you? I'm pretty sure he heard. Was it publicized the shooting, or was it not publicized?
It wasn't publicized. It wasn't publicized. It was kept like it's one of those things that was kept under grass.
Hmm.
So
So how did he find out you got shot?
I told him. I told him.
Okay.
And then when the investigators and stuff came to, when the investigators and stuff came to the school, they heard that I was on the football team and stuff like that. So they end up talking to him and stuff, and he got more information and things of that nature. But
Mhm.
it wasn't a thing where it was like, oh, this is on Fox 5 News, anything like that. But it was well known, like in our campus, and I would just say in the college community in the area.
And he never ever sat down and just talked to you about
Nah,
what happened. He just brings you in the office like Rudy and says you're out of here.
yeah, man. Well, I had to talk to him. I had to talk to him, and I went in there and I talked to him, and I'm telling him about what happened, and he tells me, well, what are you doing? What are you doing in Durham? That's what he keeps saying. What are you doing in Durham? And I'm like, I tell him like what happened and things of that nature. I don't think you can be on my team, and yeah, it was a man. It was a crazy situation, man. It was a crazy situation, but I wish he would have handled it a lot better. I wish we would have been able to talk. I wish
Yeah.
things would have worked out better, but it wasn't for that.
But you come back anyway um, for your last season. Did you even expect to come back? Were you re did you how did that make you feel knowing that they turned you down, you've gone on a whole different direction, and now you're going back? It's funny how life is. Now you get a call and you're coming back. Was there any hesitations?
Well, the biggest thing at the time for me was trying to be able to play ball again because the school I was at, I had just missed the season because I had broke my wrist. So my first year at the NAIA, I graduated from junior college, and I break my wrist like my second week up there. So it was a crazy situation, and uh, I don't know, man. When Coach Figgins end up when Coach Figgins end up contacting me, giving me the, I don't know, the interest of coming back, I can't say that I was extremely excited to come back because I had a lot of trauma
Right.
that had happened from that situation. And man, I would just say that for me to be able to have the chance to come back and go back to see people that I seen from the first time I was there, get around my friends again. It was definitely one of those crazy situations, but I did have some hesitance to go back, but I think it was something that I needed to do because it's something that I felt like I left unfinished. You know.
Okay. So you go back, you have a outstanding season. How did you wind up going overseas? What took you overseas? How did that come about? Because you're now overseas.
So after I ended up getting done with the season at St. Augustine in the 2023 year, I'm so sorry, the 2023 year, uh, I just ended up making this account called Euro Players. It's how they contact the people who want to go play overseas and stuff.
Mhm.
So they end up contacting me. And the team in Brazil. I had three opportunities. I could have went to play in Czech Republic, and then they ended up taking a guy who already had some pro experience. And then I had another situation where I could have went to play in Ireland. And man, they kind of, I don't know. It's like when it was kind of time to pay for my trip and stuff. It was just a lot of, I don't know, yellow tape that went up. I guess I'm not sure. I don't even know how to explain the situation. But when Brazil came through, they came when the team in Brazil that contacted me when they came through. They paid for my trip. They got me a place to stay. It was a great situation. Food for free. I'm getting paid decent. So it was a good situation. And I played for two teams so I played for two teams in 1 year here.
Mm.
The first team I played for, they had a flood in the area. There's a small city called Santa Cruz do Sul. It's in the southern part of Brazil, and they had a flood, and it killed more people than Hurricane Katrina. It was crazy, man.
What?
Probably about 15, yeah, maybe like 15, 20 minutes away from my house. Like even other states in here, like they still haven't shook back completely out here from that incident. But once that happened, because I had played like two games, man, and we were tied for first in the division, and it was a great situation, and they ended up canceling the season when the flood happened, suspending it per se. So a lot of other teams in the first division, I didn't even know how the divisions out here work. I thought it was just one big league, you
Right.
know. So then I ended up finding out I'm playing in the second division. Okay, so now a lot of teams in the northern part of Brazil, in the first division, they want to talk to me, and I ended up
Is
going to
that
play with
is
this
that
team
more
called
money?
Manaus.
Is that more money as
Yeah,
well?
yeah.
The first division.
More money, more propaganda.
What's the difference
It's a best.
between? What's the difference? I didn't mean to cut you off. What's the difference between? Jesus, man, there's so many football teams. Jesus,
Uh-huh.
I only knew of the NFL and then the USFL and now
Hmm.
arena football. Now they got Brazilian football, and is it the same as United States?
I wouldn't say it's the same, but they have the same aspects of the game, same rules and stuff, but the talent isn't completely the same. But it's some guys out here who've been playing a long time and they work really hard, and you won't be able to tell if they were, a guy who grew up in the States playing football or, a Brazilian guy. I've seen some Brazilian guys who are really good, so it was something that I was blessed to come across for sure. But me playing in the first division after the flood and then me playing in the division that I started in, I could tell the complete difference. I could tell that, okay, some like, because in the second league that I was playing in, some imports that they would bring in, they wouldn't even pay guys. Some guys they'll just pay for their trip, their crib, their food, and stuff like that. It's different situations people step into,
Mhm.
because a guy may feel like he needed to do this for a little bit so he can go play somewhere else, and the guy may want to just get some film and stuff like that. So, but when I got to the first division, where okay, everybody getting paid, like everybody that's imported is getting paid, so it was a lot of more imports. Like the team I had, I was on the when I went to play in the first division, had 12 imports, all of us getting paid. You go to other teams, they got 20 imports. Not
When you
Americans,
say
but
when you
different
say
parts of
import,
Brazil.
when you
Yeah,
say
yeah.
import, you're talking about players from all over the world.
Yeah, I get players from all over the world. Like so, the team I went to play with, I played with. I was living with Colombians, Brazilians, and one guy from Peru. And then other teams they would have Mexicans on their team. They would have guys from Europe on their team, guys from America. So it was a mixture of
How
of,
do you
of,
learn the
of people.
culture and the language? I mean, you had to, you know,
Yeah.
how did you
Well,
learn all that to actually communicate with your fellow teammates?
well, the biggest thing was probably the communication barrier when I stepped out here. So, I made it my business to try to do my best to learn Portuguese as fast as I could. Even if it was just because I have manners too. I'm a Southern boy,
Right.
so I like to say thank you. I like to come in the room and say, "Hey, how y'all doing?" Things of that nature. So when I was able to just be around. I think when I went to the second, well, I know when I went to the second team I was in, I was living in the house with the guys. Okay, now I'm able to practice every day, and I'm able to speak every day, and things of that nature. I got a lot better, had a lot of more social interactions and things of that nature. So it was a crazy experience, but I think it ended up working out for the best because like now I'm still living out here and I'm a professor for English. I work at an English school out here. So I teach English and stuff and I have to be able to teach to my students to, translate different phrases, words and things of that nature. So I mean I'm getting paid, so I think my Portuguese is pretty good. So but man, it was definitely a crazy experience from at the beginning for sure. It was a crazy experience.
Cam, how do they even pick their players? I know
Uh,
you're good friends with Mr. Allen Williams, a good friend of ours who
uh-huh,
played abroad. But
uh-huh.
this is something that is not really televised here in the States, but you're telling me that this is huge.
Hmm.
So how do they pick their talents? I mean, like you're saying you have Mexicans, you have Brazilians,
Hmm.
you have Russians. I mean, you got
Hmm.
this is global football, totally different than
Uh-huh.
what we have over here.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think it goes down just like in any other job. You have to go through an interview process, and you have to send in your accreditations. For me, it was me showing off my film, showing where I played, and then after that, going through an interview process because you have to be a certain type of guy. You have to have a certain type of character to even come and be around a different another set of guys, and then you have to work with them and stuff like that. So you have to be some sort of a likable guy in a sense, and have an open personality. And you got to be open minded because, man, when you're coming over to live in a different country, you know, man, like they do everything different over here, Mr. Andre. So everything, like even from the situation of going to the restroom, is a different situation than even using the restroom in America. You
What do you
understand?
mean? What do
Like
you
just
mean?
even small stuff. Like like for example, like here they don't flush the tissue.
Why?
That's like probably the craziest thing. They is the water here, the sewage here, the they don't have a strong water flow.
I got you.
So what they do is after they use the tissue they throw it away. They it's what they do. They throw it away in a little trash can beside so that's what
That
they
that
do.
is that is
It's a
so
crazy
funny
thing.
that you say that. Um,
Hmm.
you hear people growing abroad all the time, and they fail to realize, even in certain places like Dubai, there are certain things that you can't do that you do
Hmm.
in the United States that we do subconsciously. How
Hmm.
important it is it for how long did it take you to understand the cultures and the laws? Because the law's different than what it is here in America.
Man, I'm still learning.
Really? Have you ever
Even
got
from
tangled up with something that because you didn't understand their law that they was lenient on you and say, you know what, you're new to the country, however, this is how we do it?
Well, I probably would say the craziest experience I probably had out here is the interaction I had with the police here. So here in Brazil, man, it's not like how it is in America where the police patrol and they see a couple guys standing outside, they just look and they keep going, but they don't see anything to in particular. You understand? Like in Brazil, they have I think it's what we call in America a stop and frisk uh clause. So when they first experience with the Brazilian police, we sitting outside on the porch. We sitting outside talking. Me and another guy in front of the house. We sitting outside. The police come by. The neighborhood is it's not a bad neighborhood, but it's not the best neighborhood that we were living in where our house was. And uh, they get out the car and they point guns at us. Like it's not it's not one of those type of things where it's, hey, how y'all doing? What are y'all doing? What's y'all name? What's your identification? Anything like that. It was just straight gun pointing, get on your knees. Like they have to, because man, out here it's dangerous. It's very dangerous out here. So it's I wouldn't say it's necessary. It was probably one of the scarier things I've been through out here. But when I went through that situation, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely like not at home. You understand? Like, so it's probably one of the biggest tangle ups I've had. They frisked us, but man, once my friend told them that I was American, man, those guys backed off so fast. Like it was they started speaking English. My friend Eli Americano, that means he's American. And once he said that, the police was like, "Oh, okay, relax." Now they can speak English and stuff. It was crazy situation,
So
but
do
it was,
you carry two forms of ID because you are you have dual citizenship? So do you have to present two pieces of ID?
no, man, only in certain situations, but most of the time I just keep my license because, man, when you keep your license on you, once I can be able to show you that this thing say Alabama state license, they see all that English on there, man, they know, okay, this guy's not from here. You understand? So it's one of those things where a lot of the situations where I've been, it's only been like a couple times, like traffic stops here, but that's like a normal routine
Mhm.
thing, you know. So it's like, it hasn't been a time where like, where's your passport? You know, you need your pass. It's not really a thing like that.
You're in the locker room with different nationalities. What are some of the things that you learned from other nationalities? You know, not only you guys teammates, but you speak a foreign language. You got to come together as a brotherhood while you're on the football field. But off the field, when you guys are, you know, enjoying each other's time and company, what are some of do you guys, let me rephrase it. Do they share with you some of the political things that happen that they go through in their country? And do they
Yeah,
look at America like because you're an American, like you're the land of the free, you get everything? They don't know what you've actually went through in this country. Do you guys share cultural values with each other?
yeah. We would talk about certain things because, you know, on a certain aspect of things, they would talk about what is it like as a football player. You know, we would be talking about those situations. I would be telling them, yeah, this is how it went when I was in college. I went to college here, and we would go through this. So, you know, I'd show them videos and things like that, and then we would talk about the cultural side of things, and, you know, it's kind of same. You know, people that look like me and you pretty much get treated the same wherever we are. You know what I'm saying, in this world. Sadly, is the truth, but it is what it is. And, you know, it's a lot of situations out here where people are getting treated very, very unfairly or not even getting a chance to have a fight at life because they don't have the resources. And everything out here is definitely about the money. Like the currency here is so low, you know, so you got to work so hard to even just have a little. So, and I tell them it's kind of the same in America, but it's getting easier to earn income in America, I would say, with all these social media platforms that we have now. And, you know, everything is kind of turned into a marketing and sales type of deal now,
Mhm.
you know. So, yeah, people are being able to get money being themselves. While in Brazil, where you got some people who don't even have a phone, you understand? Some people who don't know how to read, or some of these guys stopped going to school when they was in third, fourth grade, you know, stuff like that. Like I'm meeting guys who, you know, they know people like that and things of that nature. So it was a crazy situation, but we did share a lot of the same beliefs. I think one of the best things that they showed me out here was to live below my means while being comfortable, you know, because like I got to come out here, so now I got to live a different type of lifestyle, and they showing me, well, this is our quote unquote peanut butter and jelly over here, or this is, you know what I'm saying, this is how we you know, this is a snack, and it helped me in a lot of ways because I ended up losing like weight and stuff like that, but then I'm like, dang, I'm eating a lot better as well, like natural fruits, natural meats and stuff like that. It's not so much um so many chemicals in the food that they wrap up out here. Everything's a lot more natural, but it was a great experience for us to just be able to sit down and kind of relate on the same subjects.
How long is you guys a season?
So I got there in June and we stopped playing in October.
So you
Uh
guys play,
huh.
what is it, 12,
Yeah.
12 games?
It can go all the way to November. It can go all the way to November if you go to the championship. It goes to like mid November if you go to the championship. But the season starts in like July.
What's
So it's
before?
like so it's maybe like 5 or 6 months.
Wow, that's a lot of football. Before we wrap up, what's the biggest what have you learned from your journey so far? You're 26 years old, so
Mhm.
you you got a lot more to go. But what have you learned so far
As
from
long as I take Jesus Christ everywhere with me, I will be okay.
now that you are overseas and you're learning a new language, you're meeting a whole different brotherhood, you're understanding culture, just like you just a different culture, just like you said, the tragic loss of all those people literally right around a few meters from where you was living at, who couldn't have resources and probably still recovering from that terrible situation. How eager are you to come back to the states?
Man, I am eager to come back because I miss fried chicken a lot, but uh
Fried chicken and what? Macaroni and cheese.
man. If I sit here and tell you all the stuff I miss about food, we're gonna have to add another 30 minutes to this thing. But but yeah, I mean, I am eager to come back home, eager to see my family and stuff, and just me being over here so long, even with me working and stuff, it made me. I tell people all the time that sometimes I forget I have a life over here. I mean, back home because I just been so occupied with this part of my life here. This probably been the only time in my life where I feel like I've been so isolated to just rebuild myself. You understand? So it's something that I'm looking forward to. I'll probably be back home next month just for a little before I head off to my next opportunity. But I am looking forward to it, and I'm ready to go back home and see my family, and just get back to work and get back to networking and see what kind of shoulders I can bump into that they can open some doors for me.
um, you say you're teaching
Hmm.
English. You ever think that maybe your calling is transformation and helping the like you said, the people over there in these countries that are limited on resources? And I think a lot of that has to do with the ability to communicate.
Yeah. I always think that I always thought that my calling was having to do with some sort of just relations, being involved with people and doing what I can do to help. Because one thing I've known, like I said, I probably really just been starting thinking like this for like probably the past 6 years. Like,
Mhm.
man, God ain't called me to play no ball. I'm bigger than football. My life is bigger than football. That's a game, but it's something that God gave me that I was very talented in. So I could use the skills that I have as a person to continue to go places and meet people and
Right.
do things and be involved in different situations, and put my imprint on the world in a different way because, man, if people in Brazil can talk about Cam the way people in America talk about Cam, and the people in America can talk about Cam the way people in Europe talk about Cam. Man, my name in a lot of different places while I'm sitting in one spot. You understand?
Mhm.
So that's probably been always been something that I always, want to work for it and making sure that I represent my family name the best way I can for sure.
Man, this has been a great interview, Cam. I mean, like 26 years old, a bullet almost paralyzed you. You get off of a football team to later have the opportunity to go back and still doing remarkable things for not only your community but a whole different culture community by helping them understand the art of English and another way of communicating to elevate their selves. How can the viewer support you, reach out to you, and follow your career path?
Man, so if you guys want to support me, if you guys want to stay in touch with me, keep up with my career, my all my social media markings are PayPugh, PayPugh. It's like pay me, but but that's my Instagram, X, and my TikTok name. Right now I'm doing a small series on TikTok, a day in the life of living in Brazil. So I just show you how I go from going to the gym
Great.
to preparing for my day, teaching my classes, letting people see what is it like living over here in Brazil, seeing the beautiful sights that we have in the city. It's a great thing. And right now on my Instagram, I'm just promoting myself as an athlete right now by being on beautiful platforms as such as this. Last night I was on a platform called Sports Shop that Mr. Allen set up for me, so that was a blessing. And hopefully I just be able to make people talk about me more and maybe someone can see more than an athlete. And I'm open to all different types of situations. I did promos for restaurants, I did promos for clothing lines and things of that nature. So I'm more than open to continue to do these things, and hopefully that things continue to come to me, and whatever happens, we'll leave it up to somebody else that got more power than me and you.
That's a lot on your plate, big dog. That's a lot on your
Yeah,
plate. And I know you have the power and the ability to make all of this happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton show.